Kathleen Fuller. I've actually been there once or twice. Brittany Radford. Dustin Renner. Stephen Renner. Are they related?
I tell you what, when we looked at the top intellectual caliber of candidates.
John Rodriguez. Beth Simpson. Stuart
She's my
Smith.
owner, I have to do this.
Joe Sonnerholm. Jen Stalcock.
You are trusted in backup position. Help you.
I'm kind of hungry, so.
Because you never know, depending on the week.
Jeffrey Susel. Oh, shit. Clay Thompson.
Canadian version.
Ryan Tolson. Kristen Van Wee. Randy Wagner.
He had a bunch, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had a ton of closings. He like came to Anchorage for like 5 closings.
Wow.
Dar Walden.
Molestation of Darth.
Kevin Winnett.
Kevin.
And Kylie Wise.
Good job, guys. Okay, so we have just a couple quick things to get through, and then we'll get to the order of the day. So I want to, first of all, recognize any new people that are with us. I know we've introduced some, so if you guys have to help me. If I've already got you, just tell me. Ethan, I don't know that we've introduced you to a meeting yet. Ethan Benson, welcome to Keller Williams. Okay, just raise your hand if I've missed you and I haven't introduced you.
Mike and William and Mike and Will in the back.
Mike Teeling and Will, what's your last name again?
Piniac.
Piniac. Michael Teeling, raise your hand so we see which one. William Piniac, raise your hand. Anybody else that I haven't introduced officially? Blake, Blake Elder with the Reward Group.
And Leslie on Bob's team.
And what about Dentato?
Oh, Jessica, we got Jessica,
Oh.
I think. Yep. Jessica's not. Leslie, yes, officially now, right? Anybody else? Gosh, you guys are coming fast and furious. It's hard to keep up with everybody. So real quickly, I just want to run through profit share numbers. So these are going to be fun because we had a small profit share month in December. It was $2,000, but hey, it was profitable. We are teaching profit share immediately after this class. So just to kind of get you on the feel of the training calendar, come on in. We have the MREA book club right after team meeting every Tuesday except for the last Tuesday of the month. We're going to teach profit share every month. It's a big deal. Does anybody know? I tell you what, by a show of hands, who knows what we profit shared back to our agents in 2013? Okay, you guys don't count. You don't count. Amigo, what did we profit share?
360.
Glenwood?
I thought it was like 480.
Oh, I would be so happy.
It was 306?
That was last year.
Oh, okay.
368.
Closest goes to Vanessa. 366,035, and you win a free car wash at Lexus. See? Congratulations, and lots of promotional material.
Yeah.
366,035 is what we did last year. That's how much money we gave back to you guys. So, we're going to fly through these. You're welcome. If you are interested in learning about profit share, understanding how it works, growing your profit share, our goal this year is to break 400,000 in profit share. Please feel free to stay right after, right here. We're going to go through a profit share class, 20 minutes, rip through it real quickly, and then Ignite will begin right after that. And then MRA Book Club will be back on with the reading assignment for next week, from last week. So you guys got the schedule? Every Tuesday after team meeting, MRA Book Club, except for the last one. I will do profit share.
Where are you at on the MREA book?
Steve, what pages are we on? Do you remember?
It was
97 to
Like
118
or something.
97 to like 118. We're at the end of the first chapter from the the 8 listing, or the 8 categories. Oh gosh, I should have brought those pages, I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. Okay, real quickly, Liz Spike, $6. Mark Mandigo, 16. Matt Remick, 228. I'm gonna fly through these. Michael Schwartz, $5, who is out and about of the hospital and doing well. He's dropped like 30 pounds. So just keep him in mind as he continues to recover. Nancy Demick, 86. Nancy Pearson, 15. Nani Palmer, 41. Nani's here. Pass that back. Paul Leishman, 5. Allison Bradley, $2. She's gonna buy half of my coffee on that. Amy Mackey-Hornack, 4. Peltier, 11. Ann Connors, 35. Beth Simpson, 45. Bob Goldie, 26. Brad Cole, 16. Brandy Kroom, $2. Brianna Tollefson, 7. Butch Jakes, 28. He's getting dressed. I'm prepped and ready. Jeannie Erickson, 23. Jeff Davis, 3. Jerry Jeffries, 11. Joe Bell, 84. July Leslie, 7. Carla Lucas, 2. Felisa, you got a buck. Connie Clan, 2. Chris Drusdo, 9. Jack Crew, 3. Cora, how do you say her last name? Asti? Sure. Okay. Casey Knight, 10. Caroline Striano, 2. Carrie Parker, 30. Dar Walden, you have $1. If you can put that into your spreadsheet. Profit share, it's down a few. That was funny. Denny Wood, 23. Deanne Owen, 9. Diane Shearer, 7. Ed Erickson, 6. Kevin Cross, 27. Debbie Lucas, 9. Larry Malden, 11. Les Bailey, 12. Lindsay Sizemore, I saw her about 25. Did I see her walk in? All the way in the corner. Here. Ryan Tollefson, 35. Reed Moore, 24. Rod Clan, 2. Rod Clan is Brady Kroom's dad, and he's actually going to family reunion with us this year. He's full-time, works at Fred Meyer. I think he runs or is in the butcher division, and he's really working on his business this year. So if you get a chance to meet him, you know, he's been here forever, but most people don't know him.
He also rides bulls, which is kind of cool.
Yes, he does. Brandy was a little frightened when he stepped back onto a bull last summer for the first time in a while. Sabre Gilliland, 4. And Stuart Smith, 1. Stuart gave me 2 leads yesterday.
Oh.
2 big ones.
It's going to increase his profit share.
That's right. So, and just to give you a quick idea of what that means, because these numbers are kind of, we kind of chuckle at them, you know, $2, $1. That's kind of fun. But just to give you a quick idea, RMCA made $903 in profit share last year. Amy Mackey-Hornack, $1,810. Amy Peltier, $3,508. Ann Connors, $1,152. Beth Simpson, $10,010. Bob Goldie made $1,103. Bob King, who's not even active in real estate anymore, $1,915. Brad Cole made $2,884. Brandy Kroom, $3,582. Brianna Tollefson, $2,811. Butch Jakes, $3,500. Fits in the big ones. Caroline Striano, Eagle River, $1,024. Cara, Kareem's old assistant, then Nate's old assistant, and now traveling the universe, $1,444. Chad Kroom, so that's Brandy's family, her husband, $3,342, so that's about $7,000 together. Charlie Ellis, out of the state, $5,644. Chris Drusdo in his first year with us, $2,111. Find some fun ones. Dar Walden, you did make more than $1, $4,117. Dave Poulin, $3,172. David Armstrong in Seattle, $1,322. Denny Wood, $3,086. Diet Owen, $3,262. Ed Erickson, $7,100. Ed Walden, $3,100. Jacob Sebring, $4,635. Jeannie Erickson, $1,300. Jeff Davis made $1,400 this year. Joe Bell, 6,475. July Leslie, 1,020. Carla Lucas, 2,100. KP, 6,000. Kevin Cross, 5,500. Kristen Cole, 1,800. Larry Malden, 4,850. Lindsay Sizemore, 7,657.
Wow.
Was that okay with you? Alright. Marcy Bouchard, $3,000. Matt Dimmick, $29,212.
Wow.
He's a
freeloader.
Let's add in, let's add in Nancy's at 19,059. Michael Schwartz, 6,734. Donnie Palmer, 2,481. Donnie and Lance have made a significant focus on building this. Patrick James, 1976. Reed Moore, 9,178. So basically he works for almost a half cap here, if you think about it that way. His cap is 21, he gets back 9,100. It's not quite a half cap, but he pays just over a half cap to be here. Ryan Tollefson, 2349. Sabra ended up with $766. I love that. Stephen Ollendorf, 1,903. Stephen Renner, when did they join us? 8 months ago? 6 months ago? 380. Terry Lee in the Valley, 1,841. Tracy Williams, who's out of real estate, 1,958. Belisa, 3,128. So it's real money. So take the profit share class and learn how you can be a part of that. Okay, I've got some brokers open flyers. We've got one with Patrick James. Here, we can just pass those around. Denny's going to make a quick announcement about post licensing. Get your licenses done this week. If you don't have your license done, you don't get to sell real estate. Friday is the deadline.
By the way, you still do correspondence. You do 10 hours a day max for state, so you got 3 days to do 20 hours. You can do it if you need it. Also, what I want to talk about, I see a lot of newer faces in here. Post licensing. We're starting a new series next month, February 13th. Your 20 hours has to be done in your first year of licensure. Get it done sooner than later. The first class will teach you line by line how to do the first sale agreement, how to do the listing agreement, tell you exactly what to put in your mic. Do it right the first time. So, yes. So, anyway, who does not have their post licensing done yet? February 13th, we'll start.
Ed.
I need to.
Later.
Okay, quick training calendar updates. February 11th is the next big thing, I think. Family reunion, pre-game meeting here. So this is where we will get ready for family reunion. We'll get get you all the information you need to know. Super excited about that. And am I missing anything? Shayna? Dan?
Did you get one?
What time is that?
Right after. Thank you.
Okay.
It's sometime during the day, yes, me. I just go in the direction they point me and show up. All right, so is our guest ready? Let me check. Did I hear a yes? Okay, I would love to ask you to all rise. The Honorable Judge Butch Jakes is presiding in session. Here comes the judge.
Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge.
Apparently it's a long walk from chambers into the courtroom. And the regalia can, oh, that's not. I was like, where's this?
Oh, here he comes.
He got lost.
He got lost.
He was socializing in Nate's
He got pulled over on the way over.
He got pulled.
You guys want to focus over here.
He's coming over there.
Is he coming this way?
Yeah.
Gosh, I guess you have to wait for the, okay, thank
Straight from San Francisco.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, U.S. question number 1.
As part of providing great customer service at my listing presentation, I tell the sellers that I'm really handy and can probably take care of most any repairs that might be needed. Isn't that awesome?
Are you crazy? No, you don't want to do that. And believe it or not, we have a lot of people that do that. If you're not a licensed contractor, don't do it. But hopefully you have a list of contractors that you can refer to your client to get the work done.
Do not offer to do stuff that's outside your area of expertise.
Well, and don't think that you are the expert.
Yeah.
questions on that? Can I add to that? Okay. If you're a licensed engineer, can you do a home inspection? For your own deal?
I wouldn't, but you can.
Why wouldn't you? But you should advise them to get expert advice. Yeah, outside.
You don't have to be the expert in all areas, but it's good to have a nice network of experts for all areas. Number 2?
I'm the listing agent. Buyer waives inspection and repairs. Then a week before closing, buyer wants an inspection for their purpose. What should I do?
Well, they're outside of their due diligence period that is clearly defined on the purchase and sale agreement. So the seller is not obligated to allow them to do an inspection at that time. And that's really kind of the black and white answer on that.
How many people has that happened to?
Come on, put your hands up. It happens a lot. Yeah.
So what did y'all, I mean, how have you guys handled that in the past?
It sucks because they can walk away and you just have to counsel your seller.
Wait a minute. Why can they walk away?
Well, you can go after, we were just having this conversation, where is it, at Laundered? Because if they do have the home inspection, then they can still be FT because it's disclosure, right? Question mark?
No.
If they're waiving their right to waive.
No.
Yeah, they waive their right to.
No, they're outside of that period, which was already contractually agreed to, for them to do any inspections. Just give them plenty of time. Everybody agreed to it. That's it.
But if your seller says, if they say, if we don't do this inspection, we're gonna DFT, and your seller says, well then, and they don't care about their earnest, let me preface that.
Okay.
And your seller says, okay, I allow them to do the home inspection, then can't the buyer DFT because it's new material information?
I would say possibly on that, but if I was a seller, I would just say, give me your earnest money, we list the house.
Okay.
So if you have a buyer that is waiving their right to have a home inspection during the due diligence, aren't you supposed to have them sign that home inspection waiver thing that we
Of course.
have? And then that is made clear to them at that point. You're done, no recourse.
Right.
If you want a home inspection, do it after.
Now, even if you're the listing agent in a situation like that, I strongly recommend that you get that waiver over to the buyer's agent, because on the other side, the buyer's agent may not, be up to speed on it.
But all 3 of these had a waiver.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
3.
it's pretty simple,
Yeah.
Jen. The seller would just say, okay, we'll take their earnest money and we list the house. Do you want to add something there, Denny?
Nope.
Okay. Any more questions on that?
Well, can I just go back real quick? I mean, what I'm hearing you say is don't be reactionary. Sometimes I think we respond back to situations that come up really quickly, and we don't stop and we're movers. So the buyer's agent calls and says, hey, I know we waived it, I know we're past the period, but we're gonna get an inspection anyway. And we may not stop and think through like those options. We may just say, oh my gosh, they're doing an inspection. Seller, they're gonna go back in and inspect, as opposed to stopping and saying, okay, seller, here's your choices. You can terminate the contract now. So slow yourself down sometimes. Don't just feel like you have to respond in 5 minutes to that thing that shows up, if that makes sense.
That's good.
Number 3.
It's gotta be okay to use an old picture I found on the internet, right? Like for a flyer or in a listing.
Okay.
I'm
boy.
kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody that's been in the business less than a year, please raise your hands. Okay, so we have a lot of people that have been in here that long. We're just past 2 years in a lawsuit that started with the unauthorized use of a photograph. It turned into a multi-million-dollar deal. Hopefully, we have had the last thing thrown out just last week. The whole thing started on the 10th of November 2011. Okay, so that's over 2 years that we've been dealing with this. Our total attorney fees were over $160,000. Okay, so of course the answer is no. You can't just snatch a picture off the internet. It's the consequences of something that it's. I could never have imagined that this thing would have taken on the life that it did, but it did. And you guys get to be the beneficiaries of our experiences, and this is one of the things that is, I can understand why the individual did it. It wasn't a big deal. It was just this picture that was out there, but it really turned into a big deal. So if you ever see a picture on the internet that you think, oh man, this is awesome for my listing or for a flyer or something like that, find out whose it is and get permission. In writing, that's good, yes, absolutely.
You may even offer to, I mean, if you have a listing that was listed before, I had a listing one time and I paid for photographs with John Montgomery, this was several years ago. My seller and I parted ways, and Katrina Benton relisted it, and she called me and said, can I just use your pictures? I will gladly pay you for them. What did you pay? I sent her the bill. She sent me, and it's fine by me, but she followed the right process.
That kind of goes along with what Jen was talking about last week. I think it was at the team meeting, where how you want to treat your fellow realtors.
Well, and who knew 5 years later, Katrina would be moving to Keller Williams, I would get the opportunity to coach her. I mean, who knew the bridge? That was the first time I'd ever spoken with her. And I remember thinking, oh, I really appreciate, and then when the check showed up, I was even more surprised.
Bounce or anything.
Yeah. I'm really shocked.
But kind of my point on this is the consequences sometimes for taking what might be a little shortcut. You just can't imagine what they might be sometimes. And I mean, when this whole thing first hit the fan, over 2 years ago, we never imagined that it could have become this thing. Fortunately, or not fortunately, rightfully, we've been 100% exonerated at every level of this thing. But it's, I mean, I've spent hundreds of hours on it, Matt's spent time on it. It's just been a drain. Yes, Christine?
If it's done by a professional photographer like you did, do you also have to get permission from them, even though you might be selling it to them?
Once you purchase the photographs, they're yours. I mean, I paid for those photographs, so they now become my property.
Okay. I heard some people talking about that once a couple of years ago, like a blog photographer, and no way. If you buy them from him, they're yours.
The other thing too is just think about, we used a photograph, I think it was us, we used a photograph one time on a marketing piece for the market center. Actually, it was not even done by us, it was done by a vendor out of California that did an Alaska piece for us, KW Alaska piece. They grabbed a photo within a few hours. And all we did was put the flyer on my Facebook page. Within a few hours, we had a call that was a copyrighted photo and it needed to be pulled from whoever the photographer was or whatever. You have to understand, and this piece of property that Butch is talking about, it wasn't a residential acreage. This was way out there.
And it wasn't even copyrighted.
Yeah, so just really, really be very, very careful.
Speaking of California, is this judge from California?
He's a little hip. He's a little hip.
Don't make me use my hammer.
So once you're done, do you get attorney's fees paid, or does that come out of profit sharing, or?
No, that's why we have E&O insurance. Errors and omissions. Everybody understand what that is? Yeah, it's to help us with situations like this. Now, it still costs the licensee money because there's a deductible. It's a large deductible. And it messed up his life for a long time. It really stresses people out to get involved in this. I mean, it still stresses me out, but fortunately or unfortunately, I've been involved in enough of them, I just know that it's just kind of part of business. We're big enough and we're doing enough deals that part of it's just kind of a mathematical equation, I guess.
Well, the question that I ask newer licensees specifically when it comes to risk management, and I don't mean to scare the pants off you, but I mean to scare the pants off you. Do you guys have $7,500 sitting in a bank account ready to write a deductible check? And that's half the deductible, because we take care of the other half.
Unless it's deemed an
Unless it's
egregious
deemed
violation.
egregious.
Unless it seems like you obviously intentionally flaunted the law.
Understand, that's your exposure. Now this guy, and this agent of ours, top great agent, and immediately upon hearing about the photograph, took it down and apologized. Oh man, so sorry, got it, no problem. We'll work that right off, I'll pay you for, So your exposure, I mean, you're in a business that has, there are litigious individuals that exist out there that are looking for an opportunity to take you to the cleaners and us as well. And this individual that did this, it's kind of his business plan to sue a few realtors every year. Those kind of people are out there, so I don't mean to scare you, but I do mean to scare you.
Well, I'll put the name out there. Don't ever do business with Butch more. And seriously, we won't allow it. We had this thing about people with.
Is he a realtor?
No.
No.
What brokerage?
He's not a realtor. He's not a realtor. He's a private citizen.
Oh.
He does a lot of purchases and acquisitions and development.
He has several different companies, and he'll come at you under like 2 or 3 different corporations and companies hidden within other corporations. Yep. Linwood.
Do we want to talk about how to protect yourself?
Not at this venue, not right now. Okay. Well, great. Who's got number 4, I think it is?
I do. I really hate it when I'm setting up a showing tour and one or more of the listing shows less than 3% commission to the selling office. I don't even want to show those properties, but I've got to take great care of my clients, and inventory is so low. What should I do? I deserve a 3% commission.
Okay. We're getting this question a lot now because we're seeing some reduced commissions, more now than we have since the last time it was a big-time seller's market. And the way you handle this is before you even set up to show the property, call the listing agent on the phone and say, you know what, I want to show you property, but I got to get a 3% commission on this. Are you going to be able to do that? You know, if so, then you can take care of it via email. You are not allowed to negotiate your commission in the contract. Okay. And another way you take care of it.
Again?
Yeah. Was there somebody not listening?
Just one more time.
You are not allowed to negotiate your commission in the contract. In other words, under other terms and conditions, you cannot write in there selling brokerage to receive 3% commission. That is a violation of RESPA. Another thing you can do is when you're having your buyer's consultation and you're going through your buyer's loyalty agreement, don't just breeze over that part where it talks about who's paying commission. If you are really strongly believe that you deserve 3% commission, and if you're out there looking at enough houses, you know that they're not all at 3%. You check the appropriate box and you have the conversation with your client that you may be paying part of my commission. Is that going to be okay with you? And just kind of explain how that works. I'm sure you've got some questions on that, so go ahead and ask them. Come on.
When you ask for an extra 0.5% from the listing office and they say no, should you still show the property then? If their buyer doesn't want to.
You want to take good care of your client?
Yeah.
See, ideally, you've already had the box checked on your buyer's loyalty agreement ahead of time that says you get 3% and that you're going to get as much of that as you can from the listing brokerage, and then the buyer will make up the remainder. And so just, I would say, before you ever write on a property like that, or maybe while you're getting set to show it, if you have them in your car, you would mention that to your buyers that, hey, just, remember we talked about this, and this is one of those properties where you guys might be required to kick in 0.5%. Okay?
If you do talk to the listing licensee and they say, okay, we'll do 3% for you to show to this buyer, how then do you do that if you can't put it in the contract?
An email's fine. Yep.
Well, your buyer's loyalty agreement as well is a signed document that the seller can acknowledge that says 3%. Your buyer's loyalty agreement is signed by your buyer, but you can send that because that's not a part of the contract. That's a contract between you and your buyer. You can invite the seller into, and that says commission to be paid by whom, seller or buyer or whatever, and amount.
Is that how you would do it if you were doing it for sale by owner as well?
That's what I always did.
That's an interesting question. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that, Denny. When it's a non-realtor on the other side, is it okay to negotiate the commission in the contract?
No, you're still.
When the seller's not,
you are that.
Oh, you said not realtor.
A non-realtor?
Yeah, it's for sale by
For sale by owner.
That's a non-realtor, but there's also, of course.
Again,
You are a realtor.
Because in the contract, who's signing the contract? The buyer or the seller? Does the buyer have anything to do with your commission and how much seller pays your commission? No.
Well, sometimes.
If it's for sale by owner and the buyer signed a buyer loyalty, I
Well,
would say
no.
yes.
Yes and no. I mean, it's between you and that seller, how much they're gonna pay. It's not between you and the buyer and the seller, how much the seller's gonna pay.
Okay.
I've done it 2 ways with for sale by owners. One is I've signed a one-party listing. It's a listing agreement with for sale by owner. It's a one-party listing. Do you guys know what that means? It means it's just this deal. I'm not listing it to market it on MLS. I'm not listing it to market it to other properties. It's an agreement between myself and the seller, commission paid, property, details, that kind of thing.